You picture walking into the perfect place, finding the right layout in the exact right neighborhood, and feeling ready to move in. But without the right preparation, your search can stall before you ever step foot inside. Most buyers start their search by looking at a listing price, checking their savings, and assuming they are ready to tour. But your ability to buy a home is not decided by a seller's asking price. It is decided by a lender's strict mathematical audit of your financial reality. Online affordability calculators give you a rough estimate of your borrowing power, but borrowing power on a website is very different from actual buying power in a competitive market. If we look at this flowchart, we map out the trap uneducated buyers fall into. The sequence begins by finding a house online. You schedule a tour and make an offer, but because your financials aren't engineered for an underwriter, the offer is rejected. Spending weekends at open houses without lender data wastes time. An unverified offer is guaranteed to fail. A prepared buyer reverses the sequence, securing a bank pre-approval first, triggering a rigorous DTI audit. DTI stands for debt-to-income ratio. It is a strict percentage comparing your gross monthly income against the mandatory debt payments you make every month. This foundational math establishes your absolute boundaries. Getting that exact ratio audited by a professional gives you the only accurate picture of what you can actually afford to close on. True market advantage belongs to buyers who master their debt profile before they request a single property tour. They move with clarity, and sellers take their offers seriously. Financing real estate requires balancing two competing forces. You have the absolute maximum capacity a bank will legally approve, weighed against a monthly payment you can sustain without constant stress. To find a safe middle ground, lenders rely on a highly practical standard known as the 28-36 rule. It acts as a guardrail to keep your long-term budget comfortable. This breakdown matrix shows us exactly how the rule operates. Looking at the left column, we see the 28% front end. This number strictly isolates your housing costs, your mortgage principal, interest, property taxes, and insurance. The rule dictates those combined housing expenses should stay under 28% of your pre-tax gross income. That means the number on your salary contract, not the smaller take-home amount that hits your checking account. Next, the focus shifts to the right column to evaluate the 36% back end. Here, the formula expands. It takes your total housing costs and bundles them with the rest of your financial burdens, like auto loans, student debt, and minimum credit card payments. This 36% back-end calculation is your true DTI. If your total debt load stays below this line, underwriters will feel highly confident approving the loan safely. But there is a clear trade-off here. Adhering to the 28-36 rule keeps you financially safe. Yet if you are buying in an inflated, competitive market, keeping your housing costs strictly capped at 28% will force you to compromise heavily on the specific town or neighborhood you actually want. Because of that pressure, some buyers choose an alternative strategy. They decide to abandon the 28-36 safety guidelines and accept the absolute maximum pre-approval amount the bank will offer. Doing this yields an immediate benefit. You gain the maximum bidding power possible, allowing you to compete for a home in an ideal, high-demand neighborhood. But borrowing at your limit exposes you to the hidden costs trap. This waterfall chart illustrates a total purchase budget. Notice how the listing price is just the beginning and only a fraction of the actual cash you will need. First, closing costs immediately drop out of the pool. These typically consume 2 to 6% of your total purchase price, and they require liquid cash on signing day. Next, you have to fund your escrow accounts. Thousands of dollars are subtracted to buffer against future property tax hikes and homeowners' insurance premiums, leaving a starkly reduced net income at the bottom. When you maximize your approval to win a house, you consume your financial buffer. You leave zero margin for error, which makes you vulnerable if taxes increase or an unexpected repair comes up. You face a high-stakes decision before you even apply for the mortgage. You have a fixed amount of cash savings, and you have to choose the most profitable way to apply it prior to a credit pull. The standard approach is to use all your available cash to build a massive down payment. A large down payment lowers the principal loan amount, which lowers your monthly interest. But there is a counter strategy known as DTI hacking. Instead of pouring all your savings into the down payment, you use a large chunk of that cash to entirely wipe out an existing auto loan or student debt. Clearing a $400 monthly car payment radically lowers your back-end DTI. By removing that monthly obligation, the lender's math shifts, resulting in a higher mortgage approval limit. The trade-off here is steep. While you gain immense borrowing leverage, this strategy severely depletes liquid cash, effectively eliminating your emergency fund just as you take on a mortgage. A bank's pre-approval is not a mandate to spend to the limit. It is simply a ceiling of maximum leverage, a ceiling you have to carefully defend against real-world expenses. To determine which strategy fits you, we can use this quadrant chart. The vertical axis tracks your available liquid cash, and the horizontal axis measures your existing debt load. Your unique ratio of savings to obligations places you in one of these quadrants, revealing if you should pause, optimize, or attack the market. We start with buyers carrying heavy student or auto loans. This plots them as the debt-heavy buyer. If this is your profile, your immediate priority is not setting up online search alerts for open houses. Your focus must be aggressive DTI reduction to ensure you are eligible for a home loan. Ignoring a high debt load to rush out and tour properties guarantees an immediate rejection the moment you reach underwriting. Moving to the next profile, we plot the budget-conscious optimizer. These buyers carry very little consumer debt, but their cash reserves are squeezed tight. If you fall into this quadrant, it is absolutely critical that you strictly obey that 28% front-end cap. Pushing your limit is dangerous. Those cash closing costs could bankrupt you right at the signing table. Finally, we plot the high-income competitive buyer. They have ample cash reserves, low debt, and shop in fierce, highly sought-after districts. Because of their deep reserves, these competitive buyers can safely use a maximum approval limit as a tool. They can bid aggressively to secure a non-negotiable location, knowing their cash on hand will absorb any future risks. Regardless of your quadrant, completing full underwriting before you view a single property establishes you as a cash equivalent buyer. It proves your funding is confirmed and speeds up your closing timeline. You deserve a buying experience built on clarity and confidence. The most important real estate decision you'll ever make happens at a desk, auditing your balance sheet, long before you ever step inside a home.